Hello, this is Brett from SurvivalComms. Today we're going to build a field expedient 40-meter dipole antenna just with the stuff you see in front of us. They have tool complement and everything right here. And we're going to use a section of 50 foot of RG-6 feed line since we've been talking about that lately. Let's get started. So what we're going to need to accomplish this task, again, is some RG-6 feed line. And let's say if you had just a section of this that just had F connectors on the end of it. If that's the case, you're going to need to get yourself a decent quality F to B and C adapter. We're going to use some wire ties. We're going to use a bottle cap. We're going to use the cap off of this and this old pill bottle. We got some hookup wire and some number 36 bank line, and that's all there is to it. Here's our tool complement. It's very basic. We have a razor knife. We have a test light, but we're just going to use this as an awl to manufacture our feed point support. And we've got some scissors, and I have a lighter right here, and I'm just going to use that to singe the end of the bank line to dress it up. So we're going to start with our feed point. So get your bank line, and our pill bottle is going to be our feed point, and you're going to want to make a clove hitch around your pill bottle. Like so, and you're going to slide that down to the neck, and you're going to pull it tight just like that, and then you're going to want to put some loops in the ends down here. Now using your awl, punch 4 holes in one side of the container as shown, and then punch 2 more holes, one on either side of the container close to the top, right across from one another. Thread 2 wire ties as shown through the 4 holes you made in the side of the container and form these loops as shown inside, and this is going to support our feed point assembly and cable inside of the housing. Using your awl, make 2 holes in each cap as shown. Then take your number 36 bank line and form loops through each of the caps as shown. And I secured my loops with double fisherman knots. Use whatever knot is appropriate and you know how to tie. Now we're going to prep our feed line, so just go ahead and cut off the end of the feed line and measure off about 6 inches. And we're going to go ahead and remove our jacket. That out of the way. Now we're going to take our shield, we're going to bring our shield back, and you're going to make this bubble down here, and you can use your fingers, or if you want to use your awl, you can sit there and open this up. You want to kind of preserve as much of this shield integrity as you can, and once you've opened that up, take your foil and dielectric as such and shove it back through. Take your shield, and we tore one up there. Try to twist it up to consolidate as much as you can. So then go about 1/4 inch up from where your foil is here. And now what we're going to do is we are going to remove our dielectric. From your center conductor. And now we're done with that. If you can scrape that foil away, good for you, because we really don't need it at this point. And this is what you should have at this point. What I also do is I take and I make an overhand knot around the foil here, and that reinforces that braid considerably. Fold your cable back on itself as shown and secure with a wire tie over top of the shield foil interface, leaving the dielectric and center conductor exposed as shown. So you can take your discarded jacket and you're going to cut off maybe 3/4 of an inch, and then you're going to place that over top of here, shove it back against there, and we're going to take this other wire tie and we're going to secure this up against the cable securely. And this is going to give us just another measure of protection. Well, we're ready to put our feed point in our housing, but before we do that, we're going to need to run some string through it. So to keep that from being such a hat trick, take one of your leftover sections of your wire tie, take your awl, knock a hole in it, and you're going to make a needle out of it, just like that. Now take your feed line, place it in here between the wire ties, which is going to be a strain relief. And now you have this guide here to assist you in coming up the other side, and it still can be a little tricky, but persistence pays off. Now go ahead and pull your string through on both sides. Remove that, and you can see how our string is in here now, and that's going to make a very, very strong feed point. It's not going to come apart. Now take your other wire ties here, and you're going to bring that down, and that's going to further reinforce it, just like that. So now we need to connect our elements. So I usually use about 35 feet because that way I can trim it back when I'm tuning it. If not, you want it to be around 33 feet long, a little over 33 feet. But we have both ends right here. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to pull back about 6 inches of wire, and we're going to want to make a turn like that, and we're going to tie bowlines into our supports on both sides, and that way we can make the loops almost perfectly the same length, and you have a tail, and that's how we're going to make our connection. So we have a really strong knot right there for our wire, and again, just do the same thing on the other side, and this is what we're going to tie to our feed point.
Here is the feed point to element connection detail. Basically, I salvaged and repurposed the removed outer jacket to insulate the wire's bare center conductor and braid in the event the antenna is twisted in the wind or during setup erroneously allows the center conductor and braid to cross each other, and this keeps from shorting the antenna. I used square knots to attach the elements. If I wasn't building this with only a box cutter, awl, and scissors, I would flow solder across the CCS center conductor and its element. The aluminum braid and element interface won't take rosin core solder, but glue-lined heat shrink will make the interface more robust. End insulator element attachment is accomplished with bowline knots. This makes it easy to untie the insulator and tune the antenna if needed and retie the knot. We have now set up our antenna for tuning, and it is resonant at 6.8 meg. We trimmed the elements, and we are now resonant at 7.050 meg.
Here's our antenna as constructed and tested in its storage or transport configuration, so you can get some idea of its footprint. I probably have $5 invested in this antenna, $3 of which is for the RF connector, and then the wire I purchased. The cable itself that I use, the RG-6, came out of a buddy of mine's tool shed. It's probably been sitting there for 10 years. I got a 500-foot roll of that. And the rest of the stuff is just basically all garbage or recyclables. And this just shows you what you can do with very inexpensive items. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of this antenna too. We're going to be using this antenna and putting it head to head against another very popular antenna in the next week's content. I hope this helps. This is Brett from SurvivalComms. Till next time.